Hello, everybody. I'm Tabitha, and I'm in my little reading corner because I finished 5 more books. So these books are the required had to get to books for my February TBR. They're the reviews or the advanced reader copies or even the shield. Are you ready? Let's go. First up is The Beast of Wheeler Ridge by Chris Stevenson. This is an adult age category fantasy, like paranormal fantasy novel. It was published in 2020 by Wing End Publications, which is an independent press, and it is 330 pages. I was sent an electronic copy of this one by the author in exchange for an honest review. Your synopsis. Seth Anson doesn't expect to shoot the first woman to set foot on his property since his divorce. He also doesn't expect to fall in love with her after nursing her back to health. He certainly doesn't expect to find out she's a DNA experiment gone wrong, a human-wolf hybrid. So I'm actually going to do a fast review of this one, which I don't normally do when I'm asked to review it. But just a reminder to anyone who's interested, you can find the full review with positives and negatives and all of that on Goodreads. So make sure you find it there. But fast review for this one. Who do I think should read this one? The concept of this human-wolf hybrid thing, twisting what you think you know of a werewolf story on its head, is great. I like the idea. I like breaking through those stereotypes, making it a woman instead of a man, all of those things. I loved all of that. I just feel like it fell a little flat in execution. But if you're more interested in the concept, I think check it out. It's worth a check. You might like it more than I did. Beware if you're really sensitive to the way women are written in stories, because it wasn't necessarily my favorite for that. The firefighting scene in general was really good. Seemed well researched. It was definitely intense. So if you love those big, intense firefighting scenes, you might particularly like that one scene. As for my rating, I'm going to go 2 stars on this one. It was problematic for the way Melina, the female character, was written and the way she was handled. Frustrating and incredibly problematic for me, but definitely props to the author for coming up with a way to turn that tale on its head, because it was different than all the other werewolf stories out there. So 2 stars for The Beast of Wheeler Ridge by Chris Stevenson. Next up for February, I read Donn's Legacy by Caryn Larrinaga. This is an adult age category paranormal novel. It was published in 2020 by Twisted Tree Press, and it is 328 pages. This book is the conclusion to the Soul Searchers mystery trilogy that began with Donn's Hill, and I was sent a copy by the author in exchange for an honest review. Your synopsis. Mackenzie Clare heads back to New Mexico to deal with the mysteries surrounding her mother's death. But when a tourist dies under similar circumstances, Mac starts to think they may be related. The murderer moves like a ghost, and it will be up to this Don's Hill psychic to find the clues. So what didn't I like about this one? All right, so this first one isn't actually a negative, just a warning. This is the 3rd book in a trilogy, and it relies on the reader having read the previous 2 books to really get it. So basically, although I don't say this about every series, you really need to read this one in order. Second thing I can say I didn't want to let this group of characters go. Basically, I knew going into it that this is the last book in the series, so I read it slowly and really just enjoyed my time with these characters. Why is this something that I didn't like? Because it's over now. That's it. Third thing I can say I didn't like is that ending tiptoed on a little cliche there. I still liked it, but you know that I don't love cliche endings, and I don't love happily ever after style endings, and this was tiptoeing into the kind of ending I don't like. I get why it ended like this. I'm okay with it. I still liked it, but just, yeah. So what did I like? The first thing, and I've already kind of hinted at it, is these characters. They're well written. They're amazing. I love them. I love that they don't get everything right the first time. They make mistakes. The characters are just amazing. I absolutely love them all through this entire trilogy. I loved watching Mac grow, specifically. She's not the same person on page 1 of book 1 as she is on the last page of book 3. She changes a lot. She grows a lot. I love it. It was realistic. That doesn't happen a lot in adult novels. It happens more in YA. I loved seeing it in adult. That was cool. Second thing I can say I liked about this series as a whole is that the paranormal stuff is really, really well written. I've said this about everyone in the series. It's just so important. If you are interested in a book that delves into runes and psychics and ghosts, but still stays believable, you're going to love this trilogy. It's amazing. Third thing I can say I liked about this one is the mystery. At the end of the day, this is a mystery book. Paranormal mystery, yes, but mystery nonetheless. You're looking for clues right along with Mac. The mystery delivers. You get surprises around every turn. I didn't have it all figured out, which I love, and the ending was satisfying. Who do I think should read this one? If you're a fan of paranormal, go get this series for sure. Readers who like a good mystery and aren't afraid of their mystery crossing paranormal lines are going to love the way this series goes. You know what this reminded me of? Like, and I mean this with all the love in the world in a good way. The original Charmed TV show. That's what it reminds me of. They're solving mysteries in paranormal ways. If it sounds like something you'd like, go get this series like right now. What are you waiting for? My rating? 5 stars. I adore this series. The series was absolutely what I wanted. The ending worked. This is a satisfying conclusion to the series. And the series as a whole crosses genres. Mystery fans are going to like it. Paranormal fans are going to like it. I mean, go get it. So 5 stars for Donn's Legacy by Caryn Larrinaga. Next up for February was Gypsies, Tramps, and Weeia by Elle Boca. This is an adult age category fantasy novel. It was published in 2016 by Poyeen Publishing, and it is 262 pages. This was an electronic review copy sent to me by the author in exchange for an honest review. Your synopsis. Sworn to protect, marshals are trained to police Weeia hiding among humans. After completing her advanced marshal training, Danny is assigned to a prestigious assignment in Paris. But it seems as if someone doesn't want Danny digging into things at her new post. So I am going to do a faster review of this one. It's not that there was anything wrong with it. It's actually a really good book. So I'm going to give you one thing I liked, one thing I didn't like. So we're just doing it a little faster. So one thing I didn't particularly like about this one is I expected more paranormal. This one reads more like a mystery thriller, almost like a detective novel, and less on the paranormal end than what I was looking for. The detective stuff was more the main storyline. The paranormal stuff took a backseat. Not what I was expecting. That was kind of a bummer. The thing that I liked the most, I think, is that this mystery is actually really good. You get really invested in it really fast. You want to know what's going on. You're trying to solve it. You're following the clues with Danny. So as a mystery, it's highly satisfying. So who do I think should read this one? If you like mystery a lot, but you want a twist on the detective novel, maybe they're getting stale for you and you want something different, this does bring a paranormal twist into that world. So it is kind of cool. Non-humans policing non-humans, right? So that is kind of cool. I think you might enjoy this one, especially if you like to read about Paris or you're interested in that. My rating, I gave this one 3 stars. It's a mystery thriller story mystery thriller fans will like, but the series itself may go more to a paranormal edge as the series moves on. So that puts this one in a weird niche because you have to like both because they are both really there. But at the end of the day, it really is mystery thriller. I just don't think it had enough for paranormal fans, if that makes sense. So at the end of the day, I'm going 3 stars for Gypsies, Tramps, and Weeia by Elle Boca. Next up in February, I read Caerule by Lauren Hemphill. This is coming in March of 2020. It was my advanced reader copy. It would be independently published. It is an adult age category fantasy novel. It is 386 pages. This is the sequel to Veritas, obviously by the same author, which I previously rated 3 stars. Your synopsis. Araceli has plans to change how the Empire operates, but instead, she'll find herself on the war's front lines, tracking the Mad Queen. While the two forces clash, something else stirs in the forest. So what didn't I like about this one? The first thing is that this one does have high fantasy names. It's something you likely have an opinion on if you've ever picked up a high fantasy book because it's really common to the genre. Character and planet names are spelled really weird. They're very hard to pronounce, obviously like the title, so just be aware that these are in there. Second thing I can say I didn't like about this one is there is a big jump between part 1 and part 2. It feels really jarring. I'd suggest when you read this one, you give yourself some time to process part 1 before immediately starting part 2. I feel like the author tried to warn me because there were lots of blank pages in there. Like she was trying to get me to slow down, but like I don't follow directions well and I just went right into it. My bad. Third thing I can say I didn't like about this one is that there are minor grammatical errors in my copy, but I am working from an advanced reader copy, so those may be fixed before publication day. So what did I like about this one? The first thing I can say I loved about this one is that the lessons in racism behind the eye color are amazing. No one can pick up this book and not notice the obvious differences in the way characters of different eye colors are treated. It's one of the main central points of the story. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. It packs one of my favorite things, big lessons, in such an amazing way. Like, you're going to draw the parallels here, and that is so well done. I just love it. Congratulations. Kudos. That was well done. Second thing I can say I love is that the romance in this book with a general. The romance side storyline with the general just works. It is simple and it's sweet, and yet it reads so real. It's wonderful, and I loved it. Third thing I can say I liked about this one is the pacing. I think I mentioned in the first book in this series starts off too slow. This one does not have that problem. This book reads quick. It picks up right from the beginning. It keeps you engaged. You're going to be turning pages fast. So pacing problems are not an issue in this book. Pacing is really well done. Last thing I can say I liked about this one is it does have a glossary / important terms at the front. Not only does this help you feel comfortable in the world because we're in high fantasy, but it puts you in place to remind you what was happening in book 1 in case you forgot. It was a great reminder. It was really cool. Plus, it gives you something to flip back to if they use a planet name and you're like, uh-oh, I forgot about that planet. It was a brilliant idea on the part of the author to include this and to have it up front so that you didn't skip it and you knew it was there. Really well done. Who do I think should read this one? If you're a high fantasy fan, but you think high fantasy needs more diversity, needs more representation for different minority groups, I mean, you're going to love this book. This book includes a lot of things that are typically minority in major roles right up front, included in the high fantasy. I mean, the representation here is like 5-star amazing. That was really cool. These characters are unapologetically themselves, no matter what that means, and I'm just here for that. You're going to love it. So go get this one. My rating? I gave this one 4 stars. This is a high fantasy book, so I think fans of the genre are going to adore it. I don't know how you'd feel if you're not a high fantasy fan, because I am, so I don't know. But if you like high fantasy, go get this one. You're going to love it. 4 stars for Caerule by Lauren Hemphill. Next up is the one and only Shield for February, which was recommended book, and this one was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This, of course, is an adult age category fantasy novel. It came out in 2006 by William Morrow. It is 491 pages, and I think I'm the only one left who hadn't read it. This one was recommended to a friend. It's a little bit of a weird recommendation. It's because I love the show Lucifer. So not because of a book I love, but because of a show I love. Anyway, it's really the only reason, but they nailed it. Your synopsis. People have been predicting the end of the world since the world began, so it's only natural to be skeptical when a new date is set for Judgment Day. But what if, for once, the predictions are right and the apocalypse really is coming next Saturday, just after tea? So I'm going to do a sort of a fast review of this one, partially because a lot of you have obviously read it. So one thing I really liked about this one, and we're going to call it a content warning, is that if you are passionate about all things biblical, you'll probably want to avoid this one because you might feel like they're making light of things that you really take seriously. So let's just say that. What did I like about this one? Look, I love funny tongue-in-cheek humor. That's exactly what this one is. It's like a good versus evil, but with that tongue-in-cheek humor. That was my favorite part. Who do I think should read this one? If the idea of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse riding motorcycles and satanic nuns accidentally losing track of which baby is the Antichrist, if that appeals to you, like you find that tongue-in-cheek humor funny, I mean, you're the intended audience for this book. Go read it. I would say, judging by the way that this was recommended to me, if you're a fan of the show Lucifer, you might love this book. For my full review, make sure you check out Goodreads. But for now, my rating, I gave this one 3 stars. I adored it, but I can see why this one would be more niche. Not everyone's going to love it. The tongue-in-cheek humor and the general almost poking fun at things note might make this one you might not like. But if you like that, you're probably going to love this one. So 3 stars for Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Okay, so that is it for me and my required reading for the first 5 that I read in February. Thank you for being here. Drop a comment to let me know you're still here. Hit subscribe and tap that little bell so you know when I'm back. Keep plotting the path to your own dreams, and I will see you next time. Bye.